to let me use one of his printouts. Okay. And he's been done for a while, and I thank him for his patience. Also, the one thing I don't remember if this is one of the previous ones where we need the spine artwork, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you might have that other one. Anyway, so here's how you mock it up. And it's okay to mess it up the first few times. It's fine. Number one, your printout should have the crop marks. If they don't, then you got to do it again. And don't be that person that gets upset or, if I tell you, hey, you forgot this or didn't print right, just do it again. It's not a big deal, right? And just so you guys know, when Gio was working on it, he did some of the, if you guys don't know, he did some of the stuff in Photoshop. He's got some Photoshop background. And it's not his fault. I mean, there's a little bit of blurriness, but it's because he used the new AI stuff, and you type in Photoshop and you tell it what you want, and it literally draws it for you. So I was cool with that because I have not really done that, right? So some of that stuff is AI generated, which is no big deal. So is that big poster, right? But remember, these two are front and back. We're going to probably glue stick them together for right now for this first mock-up. Or I think I have some spray glue. I just don't like to use it because it gets all over the place and we don't have any venting here, right? Remember, some people are still confused that this is front and back, all right? And then this is the back. Now, I have to tell everybody, once you start using these, right? Are you guys 6th graders? 5th graders? No. Be very serious when you're doing this, no horsing around. Be very careful. I don't want this to be the other year where somebody sliced their fingers. They're extremely sharp. As you can see, do not mess around with them. If you have issues with it, call me over, have a friend help you. Hey, the blade fell out. Even I poke myself every now and then, but this is extremely sharp. Okay? But I think you guys are young adult enough to learn how to use an X-Acto knife. People call them an X-Acto knife because that's a brand, like Kleenex is a brand, right? But it's facial tissue, yes. This is an Excel brand. They're not scalpels. Scalpel is a medical thing, right? You can call them hobby knife, but in the industry we call them an X-Acto knife because that's the brand, okay? Now, any left-handers? Dang it. Just missed. Oh, también left-handed? Anybody ambidextrous? Anybody know what that is? You can do both. All right. I'm sorry, left-handers. I always have issues with this part because it's hard. Because my nephew's left-handed, and it's like I don't know how to show you left-handed. It's different, right? So just try your best. All right. Number one, safety, right? No playing around, no, none of that, please. All right. Now, we're going to do the front and the back first. All I can tell you is use a nice straight ruler. There's some of these that are lumpy or curved. I like to use these thicker edge ones. This material here is for you to cut into. All right, you're supposed to feel like you're cutting into it. It's okay to cut into it. We want that to happen, or else if you don't put enough pressure, you don't have enough sharp of a blade, it's not going to work. All right, and it takes a long time to learn how to do this right. Some people pick it up right away, some don't. The other thing, when you're using this, however you hold it, I'm going to show you guys how I do it, because you want pressure just on the tip. You don't want it too high like this, because if you're doing this, you're not really cutting, right? It's low. I use my palm, and I do that, and I slide my palm. I'm not doing this. I'm not dancing around, because you can break the tip very easily in this material. It'll snap off, right? So look at that. Nice one motion. Backwards, you can practice without paper, right? I'm pressing down. Do not turn the blade this way or that way, because if you turn the blade and you're trying to do this and you do this, it'll skip up on here, and that's how people cut their fingers. And it's bad with one of these, right? Be very careful, okay? If you're like me, I don't like people watching me. I'm doing this for this video, but whenever I'm working on stuff, doing plumbing, working on a car, there's my wife watching me like this, or my father-in-law watching. Don't do that, right? Don't tell anybody like in a mean way, just, hey, I'm trying to do this. Give me a chance to finish this, right? Okay? If you're asking somebody for help, a partner or someone, that's fine, okay? All right. we have these little crop marks. Do not cut all the way through. And what I mean by that, look how I'm using my hands here. Obviously you don't want your fingers on the cutting edge, right? So what I do is I use my fingers and I press on this side of the ruler and the paper. Right? See how I'm doing that? Okay? That way it doesn't shift on me. If I'm just doing this, when you get to this part, it'll move around, and that's dangerous too. All right? So look at that. Spread out your fingers, right? You can do this. Look at that. My thumb. Huh?
Keep the blade away from your fingers.
Yes. And I see my little crop marks. There's my angle. Press down solidly. Do not cut all the way through the paper, all the way to the edge. And the reason for that is you want the other crop marks on this side to still be there, because if I cut it all off, then I can't match this crop mark to that crop mark because it's gone. Does that make sense? Check it out. And my eyesight's getting worse, but that's okay. Same thing. Look at my fingers. They're on the opposite side. Cool. There it is. Do the other one. Somewhere there. Look at my fingers. On the other side, pressing the ruler and that. Okay. And everybody say, "Oh, why are you letting them using those?" Well, you got to learn, right? At college level, if you don't do this right and you don't practice, some professors won't accept your work because it's cut really badly. They'll make you do it again and again and again. All right, so there's one. Cool? All right, I'm going to do this one. You got to be very careful. Everybody pay attention because the other one's going to come up right now. And again, there's practice. If you want to get some sheets of paper, if you mess this up 3 or 4 times, well, you messed it up 3 or 4 times. But again, just like on the computer, you got to keep doing it over and over. And not to show off, but I used to do whole boxes of products this way, mocking them up, hand done. There were some mock-ups that were probably worth, just in my time, $500-600 because I had to like create a package that doesn't exist for some of my clients, and guess what? They would pay. All right, so that's these two. Okay, I know I make it look easy. I've been doing it longer than you've been on this planet 5 times over. Now this one's important. Everybody listen to. You're getting this? Mm-hmm. This one's super important. People mess up on this one, and it's kind of my fault. On the next round, these lines should have been dashed very finely. These inside ones. That's the fold. Okay, they should have been dashed. And when they're dashed, so imagine these were dashed, that means a fold in the print world, right? And you've noticed on the samples I've shown you, there's a little fold right on the spine. This is cut. When it's solid black, it means cut to a printer. All right? So, having said that, watch this. Since this is a fold, this is the first thing you do on this one. Don't start cutting. You go to the inside ones, right? That's where the fold's going to be. And inside the artwork, everybody watching, you just push through it like you're poking it, like that, boom. You don't see anything, but I'll show you why that's important. Because if you cut this and you don't know where to do this, just poking through, right? And it's going to be very hard to see on the video, but you can see them. You see them? You have to do this first. You guys see them? The little holes? That's all. Just poke through. You see them? You'll see right now why that's important. All right, now I'm going to cut this one. It's all the outer crop marks. And if you mess it up, you mess it up. We print another one. It's not a big deal. Also, don't cut all the way through. And this is very thin paper, but sometimes we might start doing stuff on thicker stock, right? That's a little bit more cardstock. And the next thing that you'll see right now is how to do this. Again, look at my fingers. Cool. All right, there it is. Now, those little holes, you see them? You use your ruler, and I didn't bring it today, but I usually have a spoon. In the world of print and packaging, everything that's a box, like that box under there with the paper, anything that's folded, right? If you bought your phone and it came in a box, anything that's folded has what we call scoring, right? They press down the cardboard or the paper before they fold up the box. If you don't, if you ever try to fold a piece of paper, what happens when you keep folding a piece of paper? Does it have a thickness? What do you guys think? There's only a certain amount of times that you can fold a piece of paper before you can't, right? Because even this little thin piece of paper, once you start folding it, it compounds, and then there's a point where you can't fold anymore. Paper has a thickness. We don't think about that. What about a cardboard box, right? What about a cardboard box that a refrigerator comes in? The cardboard's thick. So they have to pre-press down the fibers of the paper by scoring it. Check this out. There's my little lines. And again, I'll bring a spoon. I usually have a spoon for this. But you use something that's typically metal. This one's not sharp. You don't want a knife because it's going to cut through it. And I just press down. This is scoring. And we're pre-squashing, stretching, whatever you want to call it, the fibers of the paper. And it's very hard to see, but you can see a little depression. Yeah? That allows us to fold any piece of paper or cardboard without it getting all crunchified on the end there.
Depression.
Huh?
Depression.
Yeah, well, I guess professional from a, yeah, it is like a little depression. You're correct. But see how it folds real nice. If you don't do this to paper, even something like this, have you ever tried to fold something and it gets all crunchy on the fold? That's because you didn't score it, right? And it's a simple trick. Later on, we'll do thicker paper, right? But here it is. Check it out. Now again, that printout, Gio let me use it. Right, there it is. It's perfect. Obviously, the spine is blank, right? He fixed that. And then these two go over here. Here's this cover, and we're gonna glue stick those together or spray adhesive. That will be one piece, and it doesn't look like it here. Cool. There's a spine. I know it doesn't have the artwork on this one, but that's how we do it. That's how we mock it up. Cool? Everybody got that? All right, I'll post the video.